All right, we're live. Welcome to 40 Fit Food. My name is Oscar. This is Mimi.
Hi, we are here every Tuesday around 7:45. I know we're like 2 minutes late, but I was cooking dinner. Sorry. We are here every Tuesday at 7:45 to give you fitness and tips and advice on how you can continue to do Kung Fu well into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
All the way to 90. I like it.
Why not?
All right, so today we're going to continue a little bit on what we did last week, which we talked a lot about how getting into a squat is a prerequisite for doing your side-to-side or lateral lunge. So let's just say that you've checked the box and you can work your way down into a squat. Well, the way that we kind of one of the ways that I think is a good way to start working your way towards a side-to-side or a lateral squat, lateral lunge, whatever you want to call it, is by starting on your hands and knees and then kicking one leg out to the side. If I kick my right leg out to the side, then this is pretty much a side-to-side, just with unloaded. So I've taken the load off. And one of the things that you want to think about here is you want to not just put all of the weight onto your bent leg side, but also make sure that you put your weight towards the straight leg side, because you're stretching this stuff, your adductors, the long and the short, by doing it that way. And the magic for the stretch happens as you sit your hips back, right? If I'm walking myself forward, I'm kind of taking putting some more slack onto it. If I sit myself back and then shift my weight towards the extended leg, then I'm going to give myself a bigger stretch. So that's kind of one way to start there. If you're in like a lot of pain in that position, then your body's probably not going to accept you loading it from side to side. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, and so basically the ultimate goal, of course, is the actual side-to-side, and I think we actually just had the Wallam Summit not too long ago. We kind of talked about this. We kind of talked about how they can improve upon it. Of course, like you said, first checkbox is that squat, and then I think we had talked about if, there's two things that I think are not just preventive, but like the problems for side-to-side is, one is keeping this foot flat. This foot often wants to come up. So I remember you mentioned like even just kind of stretching here is good. And the biggest question for people was like, well, how can I get from there to there, and having that foot flat, and of course all the other things, the back straight, this knee not kind of buckling in. So would you suggest that stretch there is pretty much the way to that next step, or? Yeah,
I mean, so one, you can always test it by just standing up and trying to see how low you go. So if I'm here and I'm just starting out, and I open up my feet wider than my shoulders and then start sitting my hips back, and let's say this is the best that I can do while keeping good posture, and then I can get lower but my body tips forward, or I can get lower but my knee drifts in. All of that is just information that you can get. So if your body's dripping forward, your hips aren't able to create enough space to keep your back upright. So you can do two things. You can stretch your hips out more and you can mobilize that upper back a little bit. If your knee starts collapsing in, usually, I think it's a lack of the ankle mobility, which we addressed last week. So there's a lot of things going on with that lateral squat. You've got all the implements of the squat, but also a little bit more mobility that's involved too in the hips. So I would start off testing yourself from standing like I just did, and the next step would be, all right, let me just kick my leg out to the side, see how it feels. How does it feel with me leaning towards it? How does this toe feel with the toe flex underneath? Because if I don't have the mobility to flex this big toe, I'm not going to be able to hold a strong position for the squat either, right? So both of them are beneficial. And then to your point, doing things like this where I'm going from this position, I don't want to use the wall as a balance, going from here to pointing my toe up and down. This is one way that you can start, working the strength from toes up to toes down. Yeah.
See, easy, 1, 2, 3, and you'll have your side to side in no time. But realistically, I think a big question we get is, a lot of people are like, okay, well, I'm not even close, I'm way up here. How long is it gonna take me to at least get to where I'm all the way down, and even though like all this isn't quite ready yet? I mean, what would you say is the gauge if they worked on it every day?
I don't know. I mean, it took me about a month just to get my squat when I was in my late 20s, right? So it depends on your age. Depends on what any injuries that you might have. For in the past, where a lot of us think that we're more advanced than what we really are, when really we're in almost everything a beginner or intermediate type of student. So that's a great exercise to do. Being able to get yourself down and up. But with just playing around in this position will get your body to be comfortable there. The second part is we have some people who are mobile enough, they've got the mobility, but what's lacking is strength. So a really good way to build that strength is this kind of sitting the hips down and coming back up, this type of exercise. And in the same way that we did last week where we talked about the squat, where you can get yourself something sturdy to hold on to, a partner or a door handle, something to help you kind of start manipulating, going back and forth, and adding that as an exercise is a great way to do that. So.
Yeah, because even with the PV class, I noticed that some of the kids, they have the mobility and they're here and they can't get from here to the other side.
Yeah, and some of that is just not knowing that you have that strength. So even in the kids class, sometimes we start them off, hey, let me hold your hands, move side to side, make them feel safe, and they say, all right, now go ahead and do it on your own. And they start struggling a little bit, but the muscles, without you having to say, squeeze your butt, squeeze your foot, the muscles that they have to use get turned on that way. So this is, by no means an all-encompassing side to side, but it's a way to start thinking about, well, how can I improve it? And if your practice for doing side to side or these lateral lunges are always just here with no improvement, you're going to kind of stay statically there. You can explore positions that, one, are a little bit more pain-free and allow you to explore deeper ranges of motion unloaded. And then when you load those positions, your body will realize, hey, I feel safe in this position. And so that's one way to kind of think about it. And you can do that with almost every movement. So that is all I got for side to sides for today.
Awesome. So if you missed last week, you can check back both on our Facebook, Instagram, as well as Wallum Films on YouTube, and you can see all the different progressions, because we did talk about the squat, which is the precursor to this,
Right.
just being able to get that position first. But once you guys are like, we good, we got that, we're awesome, then we're doing this side-to-side position. Let us know. You mentioned it could take up to a month maybe to get from step A to step B. And so
Right.
we want to hear from you as you progress. If you come across any issues or problems, just please give us a shout out, type a comment in, let us know what your thoughts are, and let us know how all of this progresses. So we are here every Tuesday at 7:45 for Fit Fu, and reach out, subscribe. See you all next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.